Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. So I actually didn't know how I was going to start off the video today, and I took a few deep breaths and tried to clear my mind, my energy, and just started to record. And as the recording started, almost instantly, I received kind of a mini download related to what I feel I'm supposed to share on today. This is a message for a specific group of divine feminines. And in today's reading, now I don't know where it's going to go. I really only know the starting point right now. So this could take some turns or evolve in different ways. But I know that we are going to be starting by talking about this dynamic that you are experiencing, where people are very drawn into you initially and then seem to drop off suddenly. Now, for the divine feminine that I'm speaking to here, who is experiencing this dynamic, it's a very emotionally complicating type of thing, because I'm hearing you are able to often recognize the meaning of certain connections before the other person can recognize the meaning. So when it comes to soulmates, or if you encounter a twin flame or whatever form of soul connection you're coming across, or even if there's not particularly a specific brand of soul connection, but there's just some underlying spiritual purpose to that meeting, what I'm getting is that you are able to tell instantly. I'm seeing a divine feminine literally being pulled across the room to a particular person. And maybe this is just generally symbolic of something you experience where you find yourself in places, maybe in public or wherever, just suddenly feeling this undeniable pull towards a particular person. And I'm hearing that's because the soul contract has been activated. So whenever you feel that way, it's because there's been some kind of activation of a soul contract between you and that person. And I'm actually getting the word telepathy. So I feel that there's also this telepathic interaction happening between you and this other person, even if you're not fully consciously aware of it. And I'm hearing usually, even if you have some level of awareness of that so-called telepathic interaction, the other person often doesn't. So you tend to be the one who has some level of awareness of this, whereas the person that you're connecting to very often, well, I'm getting they don't realize it initially, but the thing is, they do realize it over time. This is why people tend to experience you as what we sometimes refer to like a slow burn energy. But it's interesting, I almost said soul burn. So it's kind of like you burn some kind of mark into someone's soul, metaphorically, almost like a tattoo that you seem to leave on those that you meet or interact with in a meaningful way. And I'm getting that's actually related to unconditional love. It's because you share this unconditionally loving energy with these individuals in a way that is deeply felt and that leaves an imprint, leaves a really deep impression. But the way that people experience you is extremely complicated and layered. And I actually felt this wave of heaviness because I feel that for a specific divine feminine that I'm tuned into here, this complicated way that you connect with others spiritually, it's actually deeply emotional for you as well. It takes a lot out of you emotionally, and yet it seems to be such a large part of your purpose here on the planet. I'm getting the word misunderstood. So maybe you often feel misunderstood within these dynamics or connections, or the people that you're connecting with often initially misunderstand the purpose of you in their life or of these connections because they feel this pull to you. Well, there is so much to get into here. You can already tell that there's just a lot coming through. And if you've listened this far, I hope this has been connecting in a meaningful way. By the way, I usually say this at the beginning, but if you do want me to channel more specifically for you, then I recommend subscribing to the channel because this is a form of energetic transference. And it often allows me to pick up more easily on your energy and channel more specifically for you and your situation. Okay, so I am now pulling up what I call my love word scramble, which is a tool I use to channel through specific words that may connect with individuals in a particular way. So the words to come out right away are Danny and the word scientist. So that could be related to someone, but with the word scientist, oh, and by the way, whenever I channel very specific details, names, dates, astrological signs, those types of things, always be sure to use your intuition, most especially in those portions of the reading, because those particular details are typically intended for just specific individuals. So don't worry if they don't connect. That doesn't mean that the message isn't for you. I just like to channel those individual details as they happen to come through. I keep getting the names Roger and Gregory for some reason as well. Okay, so with the word scientist, I feel as though this speaks to maybe a particular person you've connected with. By the way, these are not limited to romantic dynamics. Yes, for some of you, these could be romantic, but this could be, I'm hearing people who admire you in the workplace. It could be a boss that wants to promote you or elevate you or wants to hire you, or people who want to seek you out in some kind of way. Seek you out. Those words seem to be important. Like, people seek you out on a spiritual level because they're looking for something and they don't even realize that they're looking for something. That's what I'm getting here. I know we're talking at this really quantum level, but I also feel that because I got such a strong intuitive urge to do this reading right in those first few moments of recording, I feel that was me picking up on the energy of many of you who are part of this collective of subscribers here on YouTube. So I really feel as though there is someone who needs to hear this message today. So okay, with the word scientist, I feel that many people you speak to are very logical in the way that they approach your connection or their understanding of your connection. Almost like they're trying to investigate it like a scientist, trying to understand it from this concrete kind of logical basis. And I have the cards or the words for, left, the name Edward, the country of Italy. Okay, so many people that you connect with the temple path reversed, what they're really seeking, when I say that they seek you out, it's because these individuals have become very disconnected from their soul's highest vibrational timeline. They're kind of just drifting through mediocre and lower vibrational timelines. So they tell themselves, I'm hearing that's just the way life is. I'm almost getting that many people you connect with may be inherently very pessimistic, as we say, or tend to see things to the negative because they would say, well, this is just the way life is. It doesn't get any better than this. Everyone is suffering in this way because they themselves are disconnected from their own higher timeline potentials. And so they logically, again, going back to that kind of scientific thing, they logically assume that it's the same for everyone. But on a soul level, because their soul knows on this deep, unconscious level that there is so much more available to them, they will seek you out on this soul level in the quantum realm. Sometimes they will come to you in dreams. So you may at times have vivid dreams, even about strangers or people you've never met who kind of connect with you or seek you out in the astral realm, which then manifests itself in your conscious dream state. This may happen unconsciously, and one sign that you are unconsciously connecting with individuals like this in your dreams is you will actually feel as though when you wake up, you've just awoken from a shift at work or something like that. You'll almost feel more tired physically, mentally, emotionally, even though you know that you slept. And you can also have this sense as though while you were sleeping, there was a lot happening spiritually, almost like you were running around in the astral realm or in your dream state, but you may not have clear recollection of exactly who you were conversing with or what you were doing. These can be signs that you are actually connecting with these individuals, seeking you out in the astral realm, and that's beginning to kind of creep into those conscious portions of your mind. And that's why you can kind of pick up on this sense of busyness or chaos while you're asleep that could relate to this. But anyway, these individuals, they've become very disconnected from their own highest pathway, and they may be pessimistic and very logically focused in the physical realm in their own 3D mind. But from a higher perspective, they have this sense on that higher soul level that there is more available to them, and you come in to show them that more that is possible for them. So my guides are telling me that through this reading, we are actually going to be speaking about many different groups of individuals that you interact with. I just saw the number 1212, so that could be significant for someone. But I'm feeling that we are going to be speaking about many different groups of people, many different dynamics that could connect in your own mind to specific people in your life. And my guides are saying, when this connects to a specific person in your life, it will give you a very particular feeling of resonance that will let you know internally that that portion of this reading is applying to you in that specific way. But if you're not getting that specific feeling of resonance at any point in the reading, then that particular group just may not be relevant to you at this time. But my guides are also saying this video is extremely timeless. Yes, all of the readings that I create here on the channel are technically timeless, but this one especially, because this reading is really going to be speaking to all of these different people, these different groups of people you are connecting with in certain ways. And you may find it useful, even if certain parts don't resonate now, to revisit this video at some point in the future and see if different groups of people are connecting with you at a later date. Because of course, time doesn't really exist at the quantum level, at the level of energy. Okay, so let's hear more about these people who are potentially disconnected. So we did have the Queen of Swords. These are individuals who have disconnected from their highest timeline, because connecting with your highest timeline is a feeling process, meaning you have to be deeply connected to your own emotions, because you have to allow those emotions to guide you into alignment with your highest timeline moment by moment. And so these individuals have actually repressed their own emotional experience. And I'm getting very often this has to do with a mother wound where they did not feel safe to be fully open to or nurtured by a mother figure in their life. They were, I'm hearing, the peacekeeper, and they learned to keep the peace by repressing and denying their own emotional experience. Now, I'm picking up right away that for many of you divine feminines listening, I'm actually speaking to an aspect of your past. So maybe you have this exact mother wound I'm describing. This won't be for everyone, but for someone listening, maybe you yourself went through this, and that's part of why you're so well equipped to act as a guide for this specific group of individuals, because you yourself went through the experience of repressing or denying your emotions for a long time, because you were taught or taught yourself in the household you were growing up in that was the only way to keep the peace. But what I'm getting now is that you've expanded your ability to feel and to express those emotions. That's also why this has been, for the group I'm speaking to here, such an important catalyst for your own growth. Staying connected to your emotional experience has been extremely important to your own spiritual expansion, because this was one of your core wounds that would have been preventing you from that expansion in the past. So this is a bit of a side message, but I'm getting that if I'm speaking to you here, it's extremely important to keep open those channels, especially creatively, that allow you to stay connected to your own emotional experience and not to undervalue those outlets and channels, whatever those are for you. This could be some form of artwork, music, creativity. Maybe you speak to a counselor or a guide, a coach, a therapist. Maybe you journal. Maybe there's a myriad of things here that this could apply to, but I'm getting very strongly to really place emphasis and value on activities and things in your life that keep you connected to your own emotions, because that raw, deep, clear, pure emotional connection helps you to naturally tune into your intuition, and that intuition guides you into alignment with your own highest timeline. And in doing so, you are helping to guide these others who also have been repressing their own emotional experience, just like, again, you may have done in the past. Because what I'm getting with this particular group of people is they learn to outsource their intuition via this emotional self-repression, with the High Priestess reversed and the Justice card reversed. And I also feel as though I'm hearing they're getting kickback, or like a kickback effect from ignoring their intuition and repressing their emotions for a long time. So these are usually individuals who have been trying to avoid the consequences of doing that are now coming back to bite them or to haunt them in a sense. And that's actually part of why they are then seeking you out on this soul level. So my guides are having me move forward to this next group of people that you seem to be connecting with. But I also feel kind of guided to say here that there may actually be overlap between these different groups. So my guides are kind of stepping in to say that a specific individual you are connecting with may actually fall into multiple different groups of people, or maybe even just into a partial group, like part of it resonates, part of it doesn't. And again, I feel guided to say that you will feel this in the form of that unique resonance that you sense within you whenever I'm locking into some particular dynamic that is happening for you or has happened in the past. And I feel that the main purpose of this reading, although it's a little bit unique for these collective readings, is to bring clarity to a group of divine feminines that constantly experiences this feeling of having individuals that are extremely drawn to you, who then suddenly seem to drop off the face of the earth. And I'm hearing they're not literally dropping out of your life. They are pulling themselves out of your vibrational vicinity and therefore kind of dropping out of your high vibrational timeline, at least temporarily. So I'm hearing, I know it's very difficult, but don't take it personally when people do this, because even if it looks like they're ghosting you, ignoring you, rejecting you, pulling back from you, they're not actually dropping out from your life. They are vibrationally incapable at this time of keeping up with you at this higher level, but that doesn't mean that you haven't or are not serving a powerful purpose in their life, or that they won't eventually be able to consistently align with you in those higher vibrations and therefore connect with you more in the physical. Because I keep getting the word temporary. Like, very often when someone drops out of your life in this way, it's temporary. It means they're not ready, but they may be ready later on in the future to connect with you more consistently. So the next group of people coming through here, and again, I feel there may be a lot of overlap here, but we have the Knight of Swords in the reverse position. So I'm hearing these are people who drop the ball and who know that they dropped the ball with you. I feel for many of you, these are romantic situations from your past, people who had this window of opportunity to connect with you. And the thing about these connections is I'm getting the word synchronicity. So these connections are very complicated, especially when they're romantic, because just like with the other group that we were channeling into, these are individuals who seek you out on a spiritual level. So when you do finally see each other physically, there's been a lot of psychic buildup, a lot of spiritual buildup to that point that then feels and manifests itself like this very strong feeling of pull to the person that feels absolutely irresistible. And I'm getting, it doesn't matter who chooses to act on that irresistible magnetism, whether it's you, whether it's the other person, regardless, that feeling is strongly there and very mutual for the two of you. But these are individuals who I'm hearing, don't mess up, don't mess up. It's almost like they're telling themselves when they meet you this, well, I should say it's almost like their higher self is trying to communicate to their physical self, this divine feminine is important. Do not mess this up. Again, these are typically going to be romantic situations in this specific group that we're channeled into right now, but they don't have to be romantic. I'm just getting for many of these people, it's like they have this rare opportunity to connect with you, a window of time, my guides are saying, to connect with you in a very specific way. I'm getting the letter initials L, E, R, O, and Y. Those could be in someone's name here. I'm also getting the word freedom and bound. So what I'm getting is there's this conflict in these individuals between freedom and being bound to something. And these are people who typically so value their sense of freedom that they exhibit very avoidant tendencies in relationships. And most likely, this ends up being why the two of you fall apart or disconnect, because your openness triggers their avoidance. But even more specifically than that, what you actually trigger within them is this feeling of, okay, this is someone that I could truly see myself being with. I just keep wanting to make this romantic. So I have to say, for many of you connecting with this group, I do feel this is going to be romantic, but it's like they say to themselves, this is a person I could actually see myself building a life with, wanting to be bound in with, wanting to be connected with. My heart may actually want that here, but because they have this pervasive desire for freedom, they prioritize their own freedom. I'm hearing they prioritize their own freedom at the expense of their own happiness. So these are people who so desperately feel that they want to be completely untethered, completely unbounded by anything, that they tend to be very ungrounded kinds of energies, but also they miss out on exactly the kinds of things they desire because there's a fear that somehow in connecting with the thing they desire, they're going to lose a sense of their own freedom. Now, it's interesting because as I'm channeling this, I feel that there may actually be a small group of divine feminines who have dealt with this dynamic within themselves, because you, of course, are a very free, untethered kind of energy as well. But at times you may be presented with something that's creates some kind of groundedness in your life, at least for a period of time. And it may fulfill everything that you've wanted, but you may be wondering, will this detract from my feeling of freedom? And so I'm getting this sense of learning to balance freedom with both groundedness, but also the ability to ground in, to lock in opportunities that truly feel aligned with you, that truly fulfill you, that may even be things that you've been asking for. Because what I'm getting with this group is they are forfeiting things that truly would make them deeply happy and that they actually have been asking for and manifesting on a soul level, because those very things trigger this fear within them. What if this is it for me? It's almost like, romantically speaking, and this may not be the exact scenario for everyone, but romantically speaking, this gives me the vibe of a person who is really seeking for quote unquote the one for their entire life, and yet really prioritizing their freedom above all else, being afraid of being tied down, but wanting to eventually find the one. And then they meet that person in you that has every single quality. I'm hearing absolute dream girl, dream guy, dream person, that has every quality that they've ever desired, that is that thing that they've been waiting for. But when it comes along, they've become so accustomed to being so untethered that they actually become afraid of the very thing that they've wanted, because this is something that would actually require them to be more vulnerable, to be a bit more open in their heart chakra than they're used to being. And in the past, they were able to excuse being closed off in their heart chakra because they would tell themselves, well, this person isn't the one anyway, or this isn't really everything that I've wanted. But I get the sense that these individuals, whoever I'm speaking to, Divine Feminine, whoever you are relating to this, and you'll know I'm talking to you, but these are people who it's like the whole time they meet you and connect with you, they're telling themselves, I can't mess this up. I don't want to mess this up. This is my dream person. And then they do mess it up because you trigger the fear within them that they're going to really want to lock this in, that you're going to be the one for them. You trigger a fear of them getting exactly what they've wanted, and then therefore needing to open their heart and lean in more to that exact thing. Wow, that's a lot to get from one card here, but let's see what else we can get from this group of people. I am hearing that although there's a very strong magnetism, and of course there's that spiritual purpose between the two of you when you first meet, these are the kinds of individuals that when they decide to become avoidant, this can be extremely disruptive to your emotional body, because this is that dynamic where you feel the pull as strongly as they do, where you really begin to lean into it. I literally just pulled the Lovers card at the bottom of the deck. So you can sense that Lovers card energy. You can sense that these are the ones who have like soulmate or twin flame potential with you. So most likely when you meet an individual like this, you check all of each other's boxes, and there's that sense that this is a soul connection. But what I'm getting here is when they choose to shut down, this actually becomes the most energetically disruptive kind of dynamic for you. This is the dynamic that would then trigger the obsessive thinking, the anxiety, the kind of spiraling sensation. And the reason for that is actually very, very logical from a spiritual perspective. I'm getting like, don't blame yourself when you feel that spiral taking place. It's very natural because there's such a powerful soul bond here that when the other person shuts it off artificially because they are feeling their own fears triggered, it can actually just make you feel like you're going crazy. That's why these are the most important connections to set very strong boundaries with, to realize when you're going into that feeling of depletion, that feeling of trying to kind of now reach or chase, and to really come back to your center and remind yourself a powerful quote that actually I may put on my Instagram, which is, by the way, at Magnetize Yourself, if you want to follow me there. But the quote that's been coming through is, nothing that is truly meant for you will require you to reach outside of yourself in order to connect with it. And I'm actually going to repeat that again because this is a quote I've been repeating to myself throughout the day. I've found it to be really powerful to help keep me in that state of balance and alignment. So I hope it can help you do the same. But the quote is, nothing that is truly meant for you will require you to reach outside of yourself in order to connect with it. So just like I've been doing, you might find it really powerful to repeat this or something similar to this in your mind during the day a sort of mantra, especially in these moments. And it could be very small moments. It might not be this specific dynamic we're channeling into, but whenever you feel yourself beginning to stretch or reach or kind of push or chase something, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's a friendship, a person, a dynamic, a relationship, something you desire, remind yourself that you are magnetic. I mean, the basis of this channel, the name of this channel is Magnetize Yourself. And the basis is really that you are a potential magnet and you turn on that magnetism every time you fully step back into your center, into your open-heartedness, into your authenticity. You become this center of gravity in every room you walk into, every place you visit, every dynamic you come across. You become the center of gravity, pulling everything to you. And that is the way that you were designed to be. So that is your natural state. And anytime you feel yourself reaching, it means that something is out of alignment for you, but it's triggered some kind of wound, some kind of fear, some kind of anxiety. And now you're in that state of trying to prove that you're enough for something, or trying to get something to want you, or get something to connect with you. And that's almost like an anti-magnetism. It's a repellent frequency, but you can switch back that dynamic and return to your natural state anytime by really affirming to yourself that you are this beautiful, powerful, magnetic, divine being, and that nothing truly meant for you is ever going to be able to pass you by. So, with that being said, I'm going to continue this reading that I'm feeling so excited about onto Patreon. So, if you want to come with me to Patreon and hear more about some of the different groups I'm picking up on here that may be seeking you out spiritually, as we've been saying, and maybe connecting with you in this way, or may have connected with you in the past, then we'll be expanding this discussion into our Patreon group. So the link to that will be in the pinned comment and the description box underneath the video. But for now, I am going to go ahead and pull one final Rumi Oracle card just to close out the reading today. So what is one final reading, one final message from Rumi? Resplendent with grace. It's interesting that word grace is coming out here, because that word was coming out very strongly, and I also heard it in connection recently with the concept of having a light touch. And in 2025 especially, I've been picking up on these kinds of messages that so much of your power is going to come from having a light touch. Again, returning to your center, allowing things to naturally gravitate towards you that are in alignment with you, and having a light touch about how you go about responding to them, connecting with them, interacting with them, because you've done all of the pre-preparation. I know preparation is kind of already preparing for something, but it's almost like you've done the preliminary work for preparing the way for all of the powerful things that are about to manifest in your life. So now it's more so about maintaining those higher vibrational states of being and allowing all of that to unfold naturally, because all of that momentum is already there. It's all already happening for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and read a little bit from the guidebook here. And the guidebook says, "Is it difficult to see your magnificence? Without a mirror the size of the galaxy, how could you possibly witness all that you are? You must just catch glimpses of your truth now and then. Oh, if you could see yourself as I see you, in all your glorious fullness of being." It's interesting because the page number was 111, and we just exited the 111 portal, the 111 portal, on the 11th of January. No fear, even the most stubbornly persistent, would be able to withstand the sight of your magnificent beating heart, so wild with life. In the sight of that wild heart, you would have to call all your fears close to you, soothing them with your words of love like riled children in need of tenderness and quiet. You may be wondering if you can attain this next stage of growth in your life. You are already well equipped to do so. You have within your soul possession more than enough grace to see you through anything you are bold enough to envision for yourself. Success is yours, but you must believe in your ability, your readiness, and your capacity to take this next phase of the journey now. So that feels like a beautiful place to close the reading. I hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day and week. And of course, I will be continuing this on Patreon if you want to join me there. Again, the link is under the video. And as I said earlier, you can feel free to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram account is @magnetizeyourself. And of course, if you resonate with my energy, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you here. And as always, if anything connected with you deeply, I would love to hear from you in the comments section. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will connect with you here again in the next video.